AEW star Adam Copeland discusses potentially re-signing with All Elite Wrestling and postponing his planned retirement. Bobby Lashley is removed from the King of the Ring tournament after Nick Aldis reveals he is suffering with an injury. Speaking of injuries, Ring of Honor Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta an update on his injury status. More details on the SmackDown move from Fox back to the USA Network this year, with the move happening actually earlier than previously thought. Detroit releases a statement refuting claims they're set to make a bid for WrestleMania 43, plus an update on Jerry the King Lawler after he has now been officially removed from the WWE roster page. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Adam Copeland and the possibility that he could be planning to wrestle for a few more years than originally planned. AEW TNT champion Adam Copeland has discussed the possibility of re-signing with AEW at the end of his current deal. Copeland made his AEW debut at the conclusion of the Wrestle Dream pay-per-view event after his WWE contract had expired at the end of September. He has since gone on to capture the TNT Championship on 2 occasions, currently reigning as the champion and issuing the Cope Open challenges on weekly AEW television. In the past, Copeland has spoken about potentially retiring from the ring soon, and he has now discussed the possibility of re-signing with AEW when the time comes. Speaking on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, he said, quote, "I mean, maybe, you never know, if I can keep performing at a level, but more importantly, a level that I can feel proud of. I just don't want to get to the point where I'm really struggling and it's like pulling teeth to get it done. I don't want to do that. And thankfully, because my career, I'm at a point where I don't have to do that. I'm doing this because I love it." Now, he also opened up on his controversial, according to some, in-ring promo segment a few weeks ago when he praised AEW and spoke about the negative BS against the company. Now, as I mentioned, after opening an episode of AEW Dynamite with an in-ring segment in which he gave a passionate speech taking on the negative BS, Adam Copeland faced some negative BS directly of his own. With fans split over the perceived rah-rah speech, Adam Copeland opened up about the moment in an appearance on the same podcast with Chris Van Vliet. He said, quote, "I felt like our locker room, which is a pretty young locker room, I felt like they needed to hear it. There's so much negativity that gets thrown out there, and I know social media is a thing I never had to encounter before that these young talents, they don't have to, but they do deal with it. I can imagine that it'd be a little bit demoralizing. So being someone that's done this for as long as I've done it, I thought it would be good for our locker room to hear that it's a great thing. This company being around is an amazing thing. Also, within the industry, if you ask, people are going to be happy because there's companies flourishing and not just one that has a monopoly. Even when I was with WWE, I thought this is no good for the industry for there just to be one place. And I still believe that. And I believe that throughout the years where we were the only place and I was the world champion. One place is no good. Imagine going to the same restaurant for the rest of your life. It'd get pretty old. So what are your thoughts on the possibility of Adam Copeland re-signing with AEW and postponing his retirement? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think he can still go? Or should he retire at the end of his current contract? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now, an interesting update when it comes to the King of the Ring tournament, because it looks like the tournament has been hit with the injury bug. The 2024 King of the Ring tournament will continue on tonight's episode of SmackDown, but one of its original participants has been removed from the brackets. Ahead of this week's Blue Brand broadcast, SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis shared an important update on the first round matchup, specifically the one involving the Bloodline's Tama Tonga. While Tonga was initially pitted against former WWE Champion Bobby Lashley in the opening round, a sudden injury has now taken Lashley out of the tournament. Here's what Nick Aldis had to say in an announcement on Twitter.
Good afternoon, WWE Universe. It's your SmackDown GM, Nick Aldis, with an update and some slightly unfortunate news ahead of tomorrow's SmackDown, Friday, 8/7 Central only on Fox. Unfortunately, as many of you know, Bobby Lashley was set to take on Tama Tonga in the King of the Ring, but I've been informed that Bobby has suffered an injury during training and is going to be unable to compete. He's not been medically cleared to compete in that match tomorrow night. So, unfortunate news for Bobby Lashley, but a fortunate opportunity for the man taking his place. And that man, I have decided, will be Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits. So, tomorrow, for the first time ever, Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits will go one-on-one with Tama Tonga in the King of the Ring. Best of luck to both of those men, and I'll see you all there tomorrow night, only on SmackDown.
Certainly unfortunate stuff for Bobby Lashley, no doubt about that. Now, like Aldis mentioned, tonight will mark the first ever face-off between Tonga and Angelo Dawkins. Tonga made a SmackDown debut last month when he and Solo Sikoa attacked Jimmy Uso and subsequently formed a new version of the Bloodline in WWE. Dawkins, on the other hand, continues to be prominently featured in the SmackDown Tag Team Vision alongside Bobby Lashley and Montez Ford. Together with B-Fab, the group is known as the Pride. Now, in addition to that, other matches have been announced for tonight's episode of SmackDown. The 2024 King and Queen of the Ring tournaments are underway, with some of WWE's top performers looking to make the trip to Saudi Arabia on May 25 for the finals. The competitions kicked off on the May 6th edition of Raw, with Gunther, Ilya Dragunov and Jey Uso moving one step closer to becoming king, while Zoe Stark, Lyra Valkyria and Io Sky all advanced to the Queen's quarterfinals. The tournament will continue on the May 10, that being tonight's episode of SmackDown, with AJ Styles set to face off against Randy Orton in a first round match. Tama Tonga will make his singles debut against Angelo Dawkins, who himself is stepping in for the injured Bobby Lashley. On the women's side of things, meanwhile, 3 huge first-round matches have been announced. After failing to capture the WWE Women's Championship at Backlash France, Naomi will kick off her tournament campaign against Nia Jax. Additionally, 2 women who had very successful trips to France last weekend, the new Women's Tag Team Champions Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, will also be involved in the competition. Belair will go one-on-one with Candice LeRae, while Cargill will face off against Piper Niven. The first round of both tournaments will conclude at 2 separate WWE Super Show events on May 11 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and on May 12 in Macon, Georgia. In the King of the Ring tournament, Kofi Kingston will go one-on-one with Rey Mysterio. Former NXT Tag Team Champion Baron Corbin will take on Carmelo Hayes, and LA Knight will face off with Santos Escobar. On the Queen's side, Shayna Baszler will face Zelina Vega, while 2 currently unconfirmed Women's Division stars will go one-on-one in the final first-round match. The quarterfinals are set to take place on the May 13 edition of Raw and the May 17 edition of SmackDown, the semi-finals likely taking place on Monday, May 20 and Friday, May 24. The tournaments will both conclude during the King and Queen of the Ring PLE in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Now, a bit of an update on Wheeler Yuta, and it comes to his absence from AEW in-ring competition. Wheeler Yuta hasn't wrestled since January 10, when he lost a Triple Crown Championship match against Eddie Kingston. Since then, he's largely been absent from AEW television and wasn't involved in the planned CMLL match at the end of March involving the Blackpool Combat Club. Fightful Sean Ross Sapp has been told that Yuta has been dealing with concussion symptoms for months. As of now, Fightful say they haven't learned a timetable for his potential return. When Fightful asked about Yuta in March, the hope was that the injury would not sideline him for long. However, that has not been the case. Of course, we wish Wheeler Yuta the best in his recovery. Now, a bit of an update when it comes to SmackDown and the move from Fox to USA Network later on this year, because it's actually going to happen earlier than previously thought. Now, it had been previously confirmed by WWE that the USA Network would be picking up SmackDown beginning October 2024, but it appears there's been an alteration to those plans. On social media, the USA Network announced that it will be the exclusive linear home of both Raw and SmackDown starting on Friday, September 13. So essentially, SmackDown's move from Fox to USA looks to have been brought forward by a couple of weeks. Of course, this follows the announcement that Raw will stay on USA Network throughout the final quarter of 2024 before it moves to Netflix in January 2025. Previously, Raw's deal with USA, of course, was set to expire in October, but there has been a short-term extension agreed. On the most recent TKO earnings call on May 9, it was announced that WWE had entered a $25 million domestic rights deal with NBC Universal, with Raw set to remain on the USA Network for the final quarter of 2024 to fill the gap between the original USA deal and the new Netflix deal. NXT, currently also on the USA Network, moves to the CW beginning in October 2024 as of the latest word. Of course, if those dates change, we'll let you know in the future. Now, there was a story going on earlier this week suggesting that Detroit could make a bid for WrestleMania 43 in a few years' time. Now, WrestleMania 40 may be in the record books, but there's speculation as to where WWE will hold future editions of their top premium live events. It was recently confirmed that WrestleMania 41 would be in Las Vegas on April 19 and 20, that being next year in 2025, with the Mayor of London, that being Sadiq Khan, commenting that he was hoping to get WWE to host a WrestleMania in England's capital. Triple H commented, "We should talk," and later clarified his statement. It was also recently reported that Saudi Arabia was interested in attracting WrestleMania to the Kingdom as part of their partnership with WWE. Looking ahead to 2027, suggestions emerged on social media that Detroit was looking to host that year's WrestleMania. The Detroit News has now issued a statement from the Detroit Sports Commission refuting the claims that read, quote, "Contrary to recent speculation, the DSC is not currently in the process of preparing a bid to host WrestleMania in 2027. However, we remain enthusiastic about the prospect of hosting future major WWE events. The Detroit Sports Commission values its strong relationship with WWE and is proud to have hosted some of their premier events in the Metro Detroit region. The DSC consistently evaluates opportunities and actively pursues bids for potential future events, leveraging our long-standing relationships with national governing bodies, sanctioning bodies, and event owners. We look forward to continuing our successful partnership with WWE and welcoming more thrilling events to our vibrant city in the years to come." Now, SummerSlam last year took place in Detroit, Michigan, and was at the time reported as the largest gate for any non-WrestleMania event ever. Of course, Detroit has a lot of history with WrestleMania specifically. It was the home of WrestleMania 23 in April 2007, with Pontiac, Michigan being the host for WrestleMania 3 in March of 1987. And finally, Jerry the King Lawler, of course, news about his future came out earlier this week regarding his WWE announcing contract expiring, and he's now been officially removed from the company's roster following his recent contract expiration. As I mentioned, it was reported earlier this week that WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler's contract with the company had expired. It was later clarified by PW Insider that Lawler's broadcast deal with the company had expired, with him no longer among the company's announced teams, though he remains under a Legends contract with the organization. Lawler himself also spoke about how he believes his career with WWE is over, and we now seemingly have more confirmation that that is indeed the case. WWE recently made alterations to its official roster page on WWE.com, with Lawler now being officially removed from the page he was previously listed on until yesterday. In his place, a new page for the newly debuted NXT star Javon Evans has been added, along with profiles of Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe. Lawler last appeared on WWE television back in November, where he had a hand in choosing the participants for the Iron Survivor match qualifying matches on NXT. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.